and now we are official. So this is the Oak Hills Park Authority monthly meeting here on the 21st day of April. And hi, Mark, I saw you, but I was talking, I couldn't wave at you. Well, you can't see me anyway. Because I'm behind the curtain. Nobody gets to see the wizard, not no way, not no how. Anyway, so here on the 21st day of April 2022 on a Thursday, let's officially start the meeting and the time now is 7:01. And let's start the meeting off by, before we move into number 2, we're going to do a roll call so that our representative from Telesco can make out who we all are and see the spelling. I'm sure she can see the screen, but we'll do that anyway. So my name is Carl Dickens, and I will say that I'm here. Mr. Dutton.
Alan Dutton is here.
Paul Alexander, you're on mute, Paul. You're on mute. There you go. Now you can.
I'm here.
Okay. Mr. Mark Gardner.
Hello.
Denise Brown.
Hello.
Rayanne Bromark.
Yeah.
Donald Mastronardi, who is also looks like he's driving Uber tonight.
I'm in the parking lot of the restaurant because we have a band tonight. So
okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
If I don't come in the car.
Okay. Jennifer McAllister.
I'm here.
Joe Andrasco.
I'm here.
I do need to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to hook up quickly right after the meeting, just call me.
But you control that depending on the end time. How's that? Maybe tomorrow morning, otherwise.
Well, we're starting at 7. We should be done by 8 o'clock. Okay, Jim Show.
I'm here.
All right. We're missing TJ. Is that right? Unless I don't see them.
Yeah, we're missing TJ, Babar, and Mike.
Mike, we know is not going to be here. Babar might pop up. He's done that in the last couple of meetings. So anyway, this session is called to order. We've gone through the roll call. And next item on the agenda is acceptance of the minutes of the March 15th meeting, which, Mark, why do we have that labeled as a special meeting? Was it?
Technically, it was because we changed the date from the 17th to the 15th, and anytime you change a regularly scheduled meeting, it has to be a special.
That's because we didn't want to interfere with St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
Right.
Okay. All right. So anybody have any exceptions, corrections, additions they want to make? And Rayanne is just can't wait. She's got her pen in her hand already.
I
To make comments.
Guys, I just believe I have only 2 very, very small corrections, and it's the same correction in 2 different places. Under attendance, where it's vice chair, we also need to add that he was the acting chair for that night. And then the same with call to order, Mr. Dickens, the vice chair, and we also need acting chair. And besides that, you guys, I had no other corrections to these minutes.
I only have one on the 3rd page, 4th paragraph. It should be a period instead of a comma. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Totally.
I know, as I said, I don't have any corrections this month, you guys.
All right. Well, that means that our
I have one.
services are getting better.
I have one correction.
Oh, Denise has got one. Yes.
Page 3.
Welcome, Bob. Bob just showed up on the bottom of the screen.
There he is, Babar.
Mhm.
Page 3, the 3rd paragraph, it says tennis starts May 1st. It's May 9th.
May 9th. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And I don't see anybody else that has joined us. Okay, so can I get a motion to accept the corrections to the minutes?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Mr. Dutton made the motion and the second was made by Ms. Bromar. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carries by unanimous vote then, so that's good. All right. moving along. Mr. Is it Larry or that's on the city with, I forget, sorry, and TJ's here now too, so we got a full house. TJ Tromboli, Telesco is now here. Do you see him in the lower right-hand corner? Very good. So the city person that's on, do we have anybody with their hands up for public comment?
So Carl,
Yes.
I got a message from Keeter that he can't get on, but I don't know how to get him on. He's the one who had spoken in the past.
I don't know. I mean, who's on in the city right now? Is that Larry? Is it you or was it Andrew? I can't remember.
The city, are you talking to the,
I'm
One-
talking to that lighthouse and Oak Hills Park Authority thing,
okay, I don't know.
who was on because he was talking to me earlier before you guys all got on. Well, then I'll just ask aloud, is there anybody that is on through the city site that goes out online right now that wishes to ask a question in the public section? And if there is, just simply please state your name and address and we'll go from there. As you know, it's 3 minutes time and there is no dialogue between any of the board members and public speakers. So is there anyone who is on that wants to speak in the public sector?
Carl, I don't think they can come off mute on their own. I think they have to be promoted to come off mute by the city rep.
Yeah, Carl, but we have one,
I
we have
think-
one
hang-
attendee that,
Hang on. I agree with you, Joe, but I'm not getting any response from the city. Mark, do you have any way to get in touch with them right now?
I have no idea who the moderator is.
Well,
Uh,
was it, it's, he told me and I stepped out of the office for a while. Andrew, well, there's only two that I know, Larry or Andrew, and I don't think it was Larry.
because we actually have somebody in attendees who wants to, who has their hand raised.
Okay,
So somehow we have to get them on.
so we'll ask them to hang in there for a second. If I see, wait a minute, I might be able to unmute them.
The attendee, I can, there we go.
There you
Sorry, I
go.
was just trying to get the executive session figured out with Larry.
Well, that's okay, but we're probably not gonna have the executive session tonight because it wasn't set up when I talked to Larry. So-
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it can.
Okay, great. Okay, my name is Zafi Duke. I'm a senior resident member of the Oak Hills Golf Course,
Okay,
and I'm here to bring to light the frustrations members like myself are facing regarding booking tee time reservations at the course. On the Oak Hills website, when one first goes in and logs in, oakhillsgolfcourse.com, there's a pop-up box that reads, I'm going to read it out, quote, Oak Hills Park Golf Course is transitioning to a new and improved tee time reservation system. Temporarily, you may not be able to book online tee time reservations. Please call the golf shop to book your tee time or use Golf Now. Close quotes. Once you X out of that, the link to book tee times allows you to select times as available. When I follow the link to book a tee time, I can tell from signing in with the new sign-on that we have this year that my profile is correct in that it indicates that I'm a card member, it indicates that I'm a senior, but then on finalizing my booking, my profile is set for me to pay $2.49 per person. If I'm booking for a foursome, it's $10. So after my I realized this during my round on Saturday because I tried to call the pro shop during my round to book a tea time, and I couldn't get through to the pro shop for an hour. So after my tea time on Saturday, I went to the pro shop and I actually had booked 2 tea times and then realized I had been charged $10. So I went to the pro shop, demanded answers, and questioned why I was being charged this fee. I played with a young lady, Kat, and she said, "You're not supposed to get charged. I book tea times and I don't get charged." So the explanation given to me was, "Oh, we didn't know Golf Now was going to do this. This is a discrepancy. It just started an hour ago. We just found out." I said, "But why am I being charged? And if you know you're going to charge members, you should send out an email letting members know they shouldn't follow the link on the website, because if they follow that link, they're going to get charged a fee to book a tea time." When I left there, I communicated with Paul Alexander, in which he claimed in his response to me that it was no fault of anyone at Oak Hills Park. He then promised to fix the problem by Monday, April 18th, 2022, and promised to give me the credit of the $498 that I was charged for one of the bookings. Subsequently, when I didn't hear back from Paul, I called Golf Now this week and was told, quote, that the pro at Oak Hills Park has set my profile for me to pay the fees, and that the only members exempt from these fees are those holding unlimited annual passes. So my question to everyone is, which is really the correct story here? Who do I believe? Do I believe Golf Now, or do I believe the pro, Paul Alexander, stating that Golf Now is at fault? These reservations are not being made on Golf Now's website. They're being made on Oak Hills, not Golf Now. I've also gone on Oxford Green's website and made reservations, and the reservation system is exactly as it appears on Oak Hills. And unbeknownst to me, there's no fee. I went through and booked on Oxford Greens. It appears exactly like Oak Hills, no fee charged. Why are we being charged? I feel, in my conclusion, is that this is intentional. Oak Hills is intentionally charging members fees to book tea times, or has simply just stripped members of this benefit by forcing us to have to call our inconvenience to call the pro shop to book tea times to avoid paying this fee. What are we going to do going forward? I'd like to know.
Okay. Could you spell your name out for our minutes taker? And I missed where you said that you live, what part of town, or your address?
My name is Afi, A-F-I.
Okay.
Last name is Duke,
Gotcha.
D as in David, U-K-E. You want my address, you said?
Yes, please.
16 Lacey, L-A-C-E-Y Lane. And that's in Norwalk.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate it. I'm going to do something that we normally don't do because of the nature of this. And I don't think, Andrew, we don't have anybody else waiting in the wings, do we?
No other attendees, no.
Okay, good then. So we're going to take just a few minutes here. And as I say, we don't normally do this, but I'm going to use some of my liberty to do this. We all on the board just heard Afi's questions and stated, I thought, very clearly and very well. Paul, I don't want to put you on the spot, but could you answer the questions that she brought up for all of us to hear?
Oh, sure. I have
As a point of process, I would object to that action, and I would prefer to put that to a vote of the board.
Okay, so who,
Uh,
I don't think that I don't think that you can block that, Joe, but if you want to do that, who wants to hear the explanation? Because I don't know the answer.
all right. Well, why don't you wait till my golf report, and I'll be glad to answer any questions after if you like for anybody.
All right, so Afi, can you hang around for a while and I'll move Paul up the agenda a bit.
Yes, of course. No problem.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so thank you again, Afi, for your comments. So moving along, you don't come for a while here. I'm going to take item 7. I'm sorry. Golf operations, item 6. And I'm going to move it up to item 3.5 right now so that we can get this before we get into everybody else, because there are some other items to cover. So without any objections, I'm going to move Paul up. And Paul, if you could give us your golf report and include in that the questions that Afi raised and we'd like to hear. Because
Sure.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. So,
Okay. Well, not many people know, so I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible.
okay.
As far as a golf report for April here, it's been a really cold spring, and it feels like we've had a really slow start to the golf season. The weather, when it's above 50 degrees, we get golfers. When it's below 50, windy, rainy, we really don't get anybody. So it's been a little slow start to the season. But the good news is that we're starting the season with continual cart paths and a functioning restaurant. April 8th, 9th, and 10th were 3 days where we did not have carts allowed on the golf carts, but we did have continual cart paths. In the past, we would not have allowed the carts out. So after looking at some numbers, the golfers, the carts that we're taking, it looks like those 3 days, we approached about $6,000 that we would have lost years past. And this is only in April. The tee sheet had anywhere from 138 to 156 players. And a lot of times we typically do more than 200. So as far as I know, we spent a lot of money on those cart paths, but I just want people to know that you're going to be seeing the revenue come in to Oak Hills due to the fact that we do now have continual cart paths. And I think overall, it'll just give our golfers a better golfing experience, and they won't have to go to other golf facilities. It is true that we've implemented a new Golf Now POS system.
Okay, so pardon me one second. Let me interrupt just so that I can soothe Joe's feathers here and stay legal, which I can do. I'm going to ask you as the question that Afi asked from me as the vice chairman, because I don't understand the new Golf Now, other than I know we've been having problems and we've never really had a chance to really discuss it. So if you could explain to the board and myself here, what is the status of the new Golf Now system, and are there discrepancies, and are we getting questions from other people with problems?
Okay.
Carl, can I interrupt for one second?
Yeah,
The chair right now recognizes Mr. Alexander.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could finish, this would be great. And then you could ask all the questions you want, because I think I have some of your answers here. And Alan Dutton has been helpful in this process. Mark Gardner is well aware of the things we're experiencing through Golf Now. And if they'd like to comment, they can. But I would like everyone to know that we are implementing a new Golf Now POS system, tee sheet, and a reservation system. We've used Golf Now in the past. We had an Easy Links tee time reservation system. Golf Now, who is pretty much like Amazon and Google, and they're cornering the market, bought Easy Links. Our contract was up. We had to sign a new contract. And they are the premier golf booking company in the country, and their booking engines, once they start working, are some of the best in the country, and it's going to drive a lot of revenue to Oak Hills. Our old system was over 10 years old. Our computers were over 10 years old. We experienced numerous crashes and problems in the golf shop. And like televisions and iPhones and certain things like that, we have a 10-year new product. So we've definitely been experiencing growing pains with it, but it's going to be a much better system. So There has been some technical issues, and the installation process has taken a lot longer than we had anticipated, but this was no fault of Oak Hills Park. Temporarily, it is true that we asked golfers to call the golf shop. We've had incredible amount of phone calls in the golf shop. One way to handle this. I've been coming in every day early just to man the phones. I've had to bring in extra people that I don't normally have in that early just to man the phone calls. And so we've asked them to, call. It is true that if people go through Golf Now, they will be charged a service fee. When they go through our site that belongs to us and it says book a tee time and you go through our site, you should have not been charged a service fee. And that was a mistake on the part of Golf Now.
So let me ask a question just so I understand.
Mhm.
If I book through Golf Now,
Mhm.
I would be charged a service fee, but if I book through our website, which takes us to Golf Now, I would not be.
True.
Okay.
That's what we'll be experiencing here, hopefully tomorrow and going forward.
All right, because I know I've talked to some of your points. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's not I just want all of us to understand, because I know Rayanne has brought this point up before as a board member.
Mhm.
And I've spoke with Mark and a few others about the connectivity, trying to get it. Alan, I spoke to, unless that was a question.
Another thing I want you to know is years past, then we could hear from Alan, but years past, Easy Links, they send someone in for a couple days.
Right, and we haven't got, that was my point. We haven't gotten that from Golf Now, right?
Well, it's 2022, and obviously everything's going over Zoom. They take control of your computer. They walk through the process. So I think the days of having somebody show up for a couple days is over. I also want everyone to know that the agreement with Golf Now, the process was started last October. We
Yeah.
signed the contracts. I was recording data in February for them and the golf shop.
Mhm.
The equipment was set up and the installation began on March 17th. And it's been a month with a lot of back and forth with Golf Now. And today we're about 99% there. I've been more frustrated than anyone could possibly imagine because I'm the one who has to field the complaints.
Right.
And I'm utterly a little disappointed and frustrated with them. And thanks to Alan and Mark, we really gave them a little bit of a piece of our mind and we got some answers. So the issues were that members were not being able to book a tee time on our website, and members were being charged a service fee when they went through our website,
Okay.
which that should not have happened.
All right.
Service fees are only charged when a golfer uses the Golf Now website. So somebody from California is going to come visit somebody in Fairfield County and they want to see what golf courses to play. If they go on Golf Now, they're going to get a service fee. If they Google golf courses in Fairfield County and they see Norwalk, Oak Hills Park, and they go on our website, they won't be charged a service fee.
Gotcha.
So I was told today at 4 p.m. by a senior manager at Golf Now that the booking issues have been fixed and Golf Now will issue refunds to all golfers who were charged a service fee for the next 3 to 5 business days.
Okay.
Tomorrow, and trust me, this has to work perfectly. I cannot send an email to thousands of people if I know this doesn't work perfectly.
Right.
But tomorrow, hopefully, an email will go out to our database and a pop-up will be on our website letting golfers know that we have a new tee time booking process.
Mhm.
This is how you have to book.
Okay, I appreciate that explanation because I truly didn't understand it. I've heard peripheral conversations.
Can I tell you, we had one senior guy. Unfortunately, he had a baby. He was born 5 months a week early. It's in intensive care. He pretty much jumped shift, passes to another guy. And we've kind of been passed over and over to other people.
Yeah.
You're talking about a senior guy at Golf Now.
Like, Carl, can I jump in here, do you think?
Please.
Can you hold it? Can you hold it? Because after that, Rayanne had a question that I had her put on hold. So
Well,
Rayanne, do you want to ask your question
Yeah.
right now?
I've got a
Alan's very
question, but
familiar with this process.
I know, but just hang on. Everybody will get a chance.
Paul, my other question that I have been raised from people is the people who have actually bought the season passes for the $2,500, okay, that we are offering, they have not been able to book their tee times the 8 days in advance. Golf Now is not set to book the tee times 8 days in advance. So how are we going to solve that issue?
That might have been true in the past, but it's not true right now.
So that part of it you think is working right now?
I do.
As of this afternoon, I got a text message from a season pass holder who's also one of my neighbors saying it's still not fixed.
Well, a lot of people don't have the instructions yet. And I think I've had someone said, I've done it, no problem. Other people said, I still can't do it. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning process there.
Sure. Well, and anytime you change software, you're going to have issues and you're going to have problems. But, you know, we want our customers, our golfers to be happy. We want you guys to be happy. And I do appreciate your taking the time to explain that, as I said, to all of us, because we all individually at different times get questions. Unfortunately, my questions comes from city council. I'd rather get them from a golfer or a neighbor, but they don't come that way, but that's okay.
Well,
So hang on now. So I appreciate that explanation very, very much.
thank you.
Now, Alan.
So Carl, let me give you some flavor to this, because I've been working with Paul during this last week, because I go to the club every couple of days, and this was one of the key things that I got involved in. Okay, whenever you change over from any hardware or software systems, it's a nightmare. Okay,
Absolutely.
and we listen. What happened was we did not have anybody on site in the days when I was managing clubs. You had someone on site and they were there and they solved the bug problems. Now, obviously, we had a problem, as Paul said, getting hold of people from Golf Now. So I sent an email 5 days ago to the vice president of the company. I said, unless you respond to me within, a day, we're going to pull this and we're going to go with another company, and you're going to have to give us all our money back. So within 2 hours, we got a response from Joseph Hellriegel, who is a vice president for our area. So he got on the case and started. And, I'm sympathetic with AFI, because basically you're getting these charges and you shouldn't have to pay them. It was basically, that was the main bug. And, they've agreed, I think, Paul, right, that they're going to pay these monies back moving forward. There's still 1 or 2 items that are still out there that we have to take care of. It's very frustrating for everybody concerned. I think, as Paul says, we're 99% there. There is no effort from anybody to try and defraud anybody or take money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was an error on their part, and they're working a lot closer with us now. And I'd like to thank Paul for all his efforts, and Mark as well.
And I would like to do as well, and I applaud you for being the progressive person to actually take the control of that particular situation and reach out to the vendor. That was a good move. A lot of people don't do that, so that's very good. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the color commentary around that. And, obviously we're not talking with any of the individual golfers, I don't believe, a lot of money here, but the problem is the frustration. And nobody, you're trying to go out to play a round of golf and you want to try and relax, and you don't get a chance to do that. Mark, do you want to add anything to this? Because I know you've been part of this.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Paul and Alan have already said. It has been very frustrating. And for me, I don't really have much to do with the reservation system or anything, but just from a reporting standpoint, it looks like it's not as good as what we used to have. I had a nice hour-and-a-half call with a guy there yesterday, going through some of my issues. And the only thing I think, Paul, that we still have to address is the fact that our 2 stores are now one. So basically, Paul sales are dumping into the overall reports that I'm seeing. So unless that's fixed, I would constantly have to dig through and subtract Paul's store sales from everything that we do, which would be just, it's already doubled my work to just do daily cash, and that's got to get fixed. I don't know why they put it in there. Paul told them multiple times that we have two stores, and
you're having to do a manual audit every time you go through that then.
I'm having to, not only is the reporting not adding up things that it should, it's very basic. I'm manually adding up numbers, and then I have to basically go through and say, oh, this belongs to Paul, and the credit cards, and it's very, from an accounting perspective, it's messy and ugly. And it shouldn't be. We should have, we're
Shouldn't be.
two separate companies. And at the end of the day, we need to have two separate stores or whatever they call them,
Sure,
two separate
sure.
companies. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just makes everybody's, again, it goes into time drain and it goes into frustrations, but you three
Yeah.
seem to be on top of it, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the explanations. And I may be wrong, but to add other color to this, I think that Roy McElroy owns this. I believe he's the owner of Golf Now. I could be wrong, but I think it's his company. So therefore, if it's going through Ireland, who knows what's gonna happen? But anyway, that's just, let's say. All right, I appreciate that very much. Anybody have any other questions on this particular issue before we go back to the agenda item?
I do. Hello.
Hi, Jennifer.
Paul, once we've confirmed that everybody's credit cards have been reimbursed for that service charge, you're going to send an email out to everybody, correct? To let them know, or is there a way of knowing, just to kind of let everyone know that, A, we acknowledge that this was an error, you're being credited, and once again, we apologize.
Good
Yeah, I think-
customer service.
Yeah, I
Right.
think when I hopefully send an email tomorrow, letting the booking process will say that in there. And I also think Golf Now is going to send an email of their own as well.
All right, well,
Okay.
based on Golf Now's past experiences, can we somehow just follow up and make sure
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
well.
do send something?
I would agree with you. I don't know that I want to take Golf Now at their word right now. Even though this is a very public meeting and being recorded, it's not a slam on them, but it's our customers. And you are the frontline people. So I think that's an excellent suggestion. Jennifer, do you want to, I see your hands up, even though I can't see you. Do you want to take ownership of that suggestion and check back with Paul and Alan as well, Monday and whenever this is supposed to be done, and see if that's
Yeah,
what she's
I'll follow up.
requesting is done?
I can promise you that will be done.
I don't doubt your promise, but Jennifer,
Yeah.
can you take ownership of that and follow up?
Absolutely, absolutely. 'Cause-
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because when they're booking, they're not realizing it's golf. They're looking at it like it's Oak Hills. So
Right.
just make sure we kind of circle back around and make sure they dot i's and cross t's on our behalf. But again, we can do an apology on our website or however you're planning on handling it, Paul. You're good. I get it.
Yep.
Agree.
Yeah, and I would suspect that Golf Now is having their problems as well with the switchover from all the Easy Link customers and the Easy Link people they deal with. So it gets messy. There's no doubt about it. All right, thank you very much for that. I appreciate all that information. Jumping back, excuse me?
No, again, we started this process in October and we were put in line, and obviously you can order golf equipment over the winter, but now the season's starting and there's delays and
Sure,
I
sure.
think, they're just
Let me be perfectly clear and for the record, I'm not blaming anyone.
Mhm.
It's just the way the course of business runs, and fortunately, we get good people on this board that will pick up the slack and help people out, because it gets daunting when you have to try to take care of this yourself, and like our good friend that brought it to our attention tonight from the public, if we don't know about it, we don't know about it. So this is a good discussion. I appreciate it.
Well, and just so you know, I'm fairly comfortable doing anything in the golf business, and I'm comfortable. I know I can hire some good people, but this 2022 computer language is just incredible. I mean, thankfully, we have a good IT guy who helps us at Oak Hills.
Yep.
Alan's been helpful, and I have an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old in the golf shop who are wizards, and they've been really instrumental helping me with this, because some of us, you might as well be speaking French.
Yep. Yup is a 0110, by the way.
And trust me, we received a lot of complaints last year about the restaurant. I was driving from here from Florida saying, wow, I'm so looking forward to this year. No more complaints, no more problems. And so I'd never anticipated this.
Yeah,
Like
it's
this.
called life.
Yep.
It's called being in business. All right, so moving along, if everybody's okay.
I only have one more paragraph to tell you.
Oh, you're not finished with your overall report. Go ahead.
Basically, I just wanted everyone to know at the moment, we have 22 part-time golf staff members. During this summer, we'll be in full force with up to 30 part-time staff members. Last year, we purchased 68 brand new golf carts. They're all running great. They're only a year old. They look brand new. And thanks to our cart fleet manager, Alvazetti, who's really extraordinary for us. All our teaching programs and golf programs are up and running. We have about $90,000 worth of merchandise in the golf shop. We've had our ladies opening day and our men's opening day, and all their tournaments have begun. And we've been in the process recently looking at 3 different simulator options for the old pro shop. And so we're just looking into possibilities because this is getting very popular in all the clubs in the area, and it could add another source of revenue for Oak Hills, typically in the winter months. And a lot of the simulator facilities are coordinating food and beverage with playing golf indoors. So I think that'll be helpful to us. We decided to do that.
I hear they generate money pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, everyone's been very successful, and it's also brought a lot of happiness and pleasure to the members and golfers.
Okay.
And lastly, our golf outings start May 9th, and we have 17 of those booked this season.
17 outings booked.
Mhm.
Do we have, anybody know off the top of your head how that compares to year over year?
I would say we've had maybe as many 19 and as few as 12 or maybe 15.
Okay, good. It's good. I have a name that I will send you via email, and do me a favor, Paul, if you don't hear sometime tomorrow from me on that, or a phone call, reach out and touch me so I don't forget this and give you the name. I spent, I don't know if anybody watched it or not, but I was in front of the finance committee last Thursday. And I mean, we got great support among city council people right now, terrific support. And they're all like the course I mean, they haven't been there as much as they should be, but they're going to. But there were some ideas that came up out of that and some questions about how we can better interact the golf course with underprivileged kids and youth and programs that are in the city. And I know we talked about that last year. And I know that Ed was doing it also with a program like Gary Ann had. Anyway, I would like you two, the council person and you, to have a conversation and work that out, because I think it's, personally, I believe in it. I think it's just a very good thing. And then we talked about our First Tee Association and that sort of thing. So, you know, it was actually a very, very good meeting, Mark, and your numbers and stuff always helped, and Joe, of course. But it was a meeting where we really talked about what good things are going on at the course and how we can, and they're interested in broadening those out and being inclusive. So if you don't hear from me, ring me up, would you please?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, let's go back to the agenda.
Carl, may I address you for 2 seconds? If you look in our attendees, after Affy's question, which we did address and move Paul's report up, we still have I think it's the same person because it's Peter twice, but we do have a Peter in the attendees who wants to address us for public comment.
Larry, can we, is Peter unmuted? I mean, we're past.
I can allow now.
Yeah, we're past the public comment time, but Peter's hanging in there. So yes, let's unmute him. And Peter, state your name fully and your address. And I'm going to have to limit you to the 3-minute mark. So go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, as you know, I've been on this a number of times. I was the one that was hit by a golf ball 6 months ago and more, and I'm still injured. I'm still recovering, and I heard that nothing has been done to the tennis courts to basically reverse or eliminate what happened to me. It's totally irresponsible from the standpoint of the golf course and your participation in doing something to make sure that nothing happens to someone like me again. I was lucky in that I only had a concussion and only had to go through 2 CAT scans of my brain, one of which showed blood on my brain. and I'm actually meeting with my doctor tomorrow for a further evaluation. At this point, I think opening the tennis courts without making sure that nobody on those tennis courts gets hit in the head or anywhere by a golf ball is irresponsible and actually is, I think, a dereliction of your duties to make sure that anybody playing at Oak Hills, whether it be a golfer, a tennis player, or a hiker, that will go through what I have gone through for the past 6 months and undergoing major evaluations, CAT scan, brains CAT scans that would basically eliminate this potential. And if it does happen again, I think that will be a big onus on you individuals as members that you have not taken your chance of addressing it.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Trust me, I know about CAT scans and MRIs over the past year, so I empathize with what you're saying. Who on the board has had any conversation? I know we've looked at the facility and what it would look like, how much it would cost to do this, that. I know we went out and looked at the height of the trees and all this other stuff, but has anybody gone forward, as we talked about, and talked to our attorney about this and what we need to do and formulate an official position on this?
I know that Jim and I and a couple other people have talked about
That's
the
you,
netting that
Don.
we could-
Don, is that you talking?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Don. I know we talked about some of the netting that we could do over on hole 11 there to help mitigate some of this, but the logistics of it and the setting it up of it is what's going to be an issue. I think we're still looking at it. It's just it's not an easy fix in terms of just putting up a net. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot in terms of getting around the golf carts and stuff. And I'm sure Jim could talk about it a little more in depth. But we are addressing it and we are looking into it. It's just, again, it's not a quick, easy fix. I mean, this would be a big construction project and an expensive one. And
So what I'd like to ask, Don, is
there's no way to ever give you 100% protection. You're at a golf course. Balls are going to be flying, and that's the issue we're going to have. Is
that's a big
safety.
part. So what I'd
Yeah, no
like,
question.
Don, I'd like to ask you to have a conversation with and Alan, you two talk. Denise, you may be brought into this as well because of the tennis situation. And Paul, could you get on a conference call, schedule it for early next week, and if I can make it, I'll make it. But we should have a call with Randy and see what position we need to take as a business about this situation right now. And then we will go from there and make a public announcement and put something on the website and everything else that needs to be done. But we, the only part about this that I don't like is that we have, and yours truly included, this has been dragging on for 6 months. So let's get this settled next week and we'll go from there. And if you want me to,
Well,
I can reach out.
Carl, all I want to say is that I wouldn't say it was dragging on. We have addressed it and looked into it. It's just, again, it's not a simple, let's just throw a net up, because it's, like
No,
I said, there's a lot that goes into it.
I totally understand that. And again, I'm not blaming anybody. I know everybody's got full-time jobs except Alan. And I know that, although this has become one for you. But I just want to make sure that, that we can move forward on this and be one of the things as a board we can move along. Okay. All right, so let's put things back in order. And I believe the next thing that would be up is the supporters of Oak Hills. And that report would be delivered by Mr. Jerry Crowley. Jerry?
Thanks, Carl. Nobody can see me because I'm, how about now?
I can see you.
Okay.
I can see you.
All right, good.
I actually saw somebody deliver dinner to you.
Yeah, oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were at a lacrosse game. It's stuck in the traffic all the way up, so.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't have a report for tonight because I don't have any figures since the last time I had a report.
Okay,
So we'll work on that over the month and hopefully we'll have one next month.
okay. All right, thank you. So
You're
that dovetails nicely into our tennis update. And I know that Denise has got some figures and things to talk about and a whole bunch of stuff. So Denise, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi, everybody. So earlier today, I sent through a report, one estimate that we had received. We're, because we're looking into doing a patio outside of the tennis building. And Jim and I had, well, let's back up one step. Jim had done some repairs on the property there for the water.
Mhm.
The repairs have been completed, but I think that there's a couple of other steps that need to be taken. And Jim, you were talking about the sod that would help control the water that's still coming to the area, because there's nothing really to hold it but the dirt right now.
Right. I mean, when you have 1.6 inches of rain fall on topsoil that has been freshly installed, of course, it's just going to be mud and it's going to hold a little bit of water for a little bit. But actually, I watched it through the day, and at the end of the day, it was there were no more puddles. And when we actually would put sod or some type of patio down, I do believe that it will be a massive improvement to that area of the tennis area. And I had called off the sod, in fact, because we weren't sure what direction we were going to go with the patio. So if we want to get that going again, it's going to be, we may have to do it in-house, which would really, I mean, spring is our crunch time. We're trying to get a lot of things done to prep the course and the property for the season. We hope that well, I do anyway, that the patio project comes through rather quickly. I'm not sure what the thought is there.
Well, I kind of have two different thoughts. One is that if we don't get the patio project through to, like in a month, I think the sod might need to go down, because I'm afraid that, it's just going to be a muddy mess. And
Yeah.
people, so it's going to look bad and it's going to retain the water. And even though it may drain out, I'm thinking that I don't know how many steps we need to take to put the patio in and to get a permit and to get it approved and have everybody come on board with this. But I'm thinking in the transition time, maybe we have to consider the sod. What do you think? I mean,
I wish I had known that 2 days ago. I would have not called it off.
okay.
But as of now, the guy that was going to do it, the original guy that did the drain work, he is getting into his crunch time as well. So I don't know that I'd be able to just call him up and say, hey, come on out and install the sod now.
Well,
So,
I mean, we can talk about that some more.
okay.
So I have an estimate from one company about a patio. I sent it around today. I don't know if anybody had time to take a look at it. It's about a $15,000 estimate. They had put sales tax on it, which would come off. But the estimate is for, I don't have the exact dimensions. They gave me square footage of the stones that they want to use, but they didn't actually give me a dimension of the patio. So I don't know. Jim, do you have any idea? I mean, is it like?
Yeah, I wish I had been there for that the other day. Unfortunately, my dad, he was checked into the hospital. I had to go. I'd like to get the guys
30 or what? I don't know exactly what the dimensions scale out to be. That's a question I have to go back with him to ask.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they The estimate is for a patio to, basically, it's a very large square that will come off of the tennis building and go down towards the 6 battery court and maybe be about 4 feet, maybe 6 feet from the fence to the beginning of the patio. It would go towards, I mean, a lot of you haven't been to the premises. So anybody who has been there, there is a walkway that's been destroyed through the years. So the patio would be sort of a square, and it would meet that whole area in front of the tennis court up to the building, and then it would end around where the walkway is. They want to use they call it a Nickel-Lock Ridgestone. It's a gray tone. It's multi sizes of the stone laid flat. That's their estimate is around probably 14,500 when you take the sales tax off. I don't have a time frame on how long it would take to lay it or how soon he could do it, but he sounded like it could be something that would be done if we wanted to go ahead with this project, like possibly in a month. And also, he thinks that that would help with the water problem because they would be laying the stone over the area. So I had talked to Jim and I had told him actually to hold off on the sod, and that's why he went and spoke with them and told them not to do it. But now I'm wondering, in the transition of possibly a month getting this done and the courts opening up May 9th and then having all the people kind of, coming on board to play tennis and walking in that area, that it might be a problem to not have the sod down until we can consider doing this project. And let me also mention that the money will come from the supporters because we have raised the 22,000. So if we stick with this particular estimate and this company, we can finance it ourselves.
Great job.
So that would be, that's very important because I know that, we're not ready to go into the capital budget yet. And we have a lot of more discussion on what finances can go towards the tennis site. So if we had just this particular estimate, we can take care of it. I did ask them to extend the estimate and to consider doing the walkway all the way from the tennis courts up to the parking lot, because I mean, the walkway is in, it's half there and half mud and half, I don't even know what's left over from it. So they were giving me another estimate, but before I present that, which I think I can just send everybody an email during next week, I need more dimensions, I need more information. So I really don't want to put that out there yet. So I guess my question is, has anybody had a chance to look at what I sent out?
I have not had a chance to look at your email this afternoon. I apologize.
Denise, I quickly looked at it, and from what I saw and the diagram that they actually sent us in the estimate, I actually like the proposal so far.
Denise,
Hi.
I kind of go back to my previous life. This is the only proposal I've seen. So I don't have any way of comparing this to see from a price perspective if it falls in line with anyone else. I kind of believe in getting 3 estimates and taking a look at it. Highest isn't always the best, lowest isn't always the best, somewhere in the middle. I know you're funding this yourself, but I would just recommend maybe getting 2 more estimates so that you can see where the range is, if you have that kind of time.
Yeah, I mean, that is what we intended to do. One of the companies we were going to reach out to has now told us that they're too busy to give us an estimate. So now we
will definitely work on that though. I mean,
yeah.
No question.
So, I mean, in light of that, it probably won't happen as we were hoping, Jim, I'm thinking that in the interim, we might have to put the sod down.
Are there any temporary
I don't know
fixes?
if that's reversible and.
Well, I actually think that once we start warming up, the ground is going to inevitably become drier. I understand that is not a usable surface between the building and the courts, but the other areas there, like between the building and the 2-court battery, has become more than usable. Maybe we force them to, I hate to say this, but suffer a little bit and use other areas until we have a clear path in mind. I don't know if they're probably not going to be agreeable to that, but
Well, you mean you would block it, like maybe fence it off or?
rope it off a little bit. I
but
mean, all
just
they
not
need is the path. All they need is the path to both entrances, and you know, until we come to a decision, we could leave it like that.
So Jim, there's no option putting any temporary stuff down like duck boards or something like that that raises you off and you're walking on, I don't know, just throwing that out there.
I just don't know what kind of temporary option we could give on a slab of mud. I mean, would it be plywood? Would it be
No, it couldn't be
AstroTurf? Would it, you know,
Yeah.
it's.
Jim, could you seed it and put hay on it for now?
We could.
I
It
mean,
would take a while, but we could do that, and eventually it'll be open.
how long would the seed take? I mean, would that take months or would that take 6 weeks or?
It would
you
take a
know?
month. It would take a
Yeah.
month to be traffic ready, minimal.
So if you seed and put hay on it and then we rope it off and say that it's off limits to walk on, I mean, if people see that we're growing new seed on it, new grass, that they would
Yep.
probably they would avoid it, I would say, I would hope.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking of just something now.
We can try that.
You know, we could try that.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
So basically, you know, the patio is something that have the works on. I think once we consider putting a walkway in and expanding it, obviously this price is going to change. And if anybody has a suggestion on somebody that I could call for an estimate, I would love to have somebody reach out to me.
Denise, I'm actually texting you and emailing you the guy that did work for my house. He did my walkways and he put the patio around our pool.
Okay.
And he did the Nicolak gray stones. I have exact same, they're the pavers. I have the
Okay.
exact same material.
Mhm.
And he does amazing work. He's really inexpensive and he does excellent work. And I'm actually emailing you his contact right now as we talk. And if you want, I can even give him a call for you tomorrow and have him come over and give you a quote as well if you'd like.
That would be great. Absolutely. Mhm. Yeah, if
Okay.
you want to give him a call and then we could set up an appointment and meet him there next week.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, but so
Good.
send me the contact information just so I have it and I know who we'll be dealing with. That'd be great. So, I mean, basically that's the project I've been working on, besides the fact that we have the fundraiser on May 22nd. And I've heard from a few of you who may be attending, which is great. If anybody else would like to attend, please reach out to me. And that's it. The court's open May 9th. And that's what's going on at the moment. Does anybody have any questions?
I have no questions, but I have a statement that I want to give you. First of all, I think you're doing a great job, and I like the way you and Jim are working together on getting this all done. As I started the top of this with, I had a rather long, questionable, productive, however you want to say it, meeting with finance last week. And I can't remember the person's name. It was a male. That asked the question about what are we doing for the tennis courts, because not everybody plays golf. And I said, very good question. But I did say that we had Denise Brown that was working on a lot of stuff there and it was coming along very well. I say this, so my ask of you, Denise, when you get a moment, can you send me just a quick paragraph or two of what you guys were just discussing, and unless you included it in what you sent me today, then you don't have to do that. But I want to get back to all of council and to this gentleman in particular about what's going to, I kind of gave him the 45,000 foot view, said that we had some water issues that was being addressed. We were also looking at fencing and, you know, prices is very high about replacing fencing, you know, all the highlight stuff. I also mentioned to all of council if anybody on council had remembered Art, and they all did, of course, who wouldn't? And I said, we're looking at renaming the courts possibly after him, and they all thought that was a terrific idea.
Well, it's not the courts, it was the patio.
Okay, that's fine. What we're talking about here, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I mentioned that there is so if you can send me a write-up or an invite, excuse me, of what we're doing on the 22nd, the fundraiser, I will pass that along to them also, because I told them that there was a fundraiser being planned and that they were all invited. So maybe we can get them, get a little money out of their own pockets. Who knows? But if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm working with Paul right now on getting something drafted to post on the website for Oak Hills under the tennis section.
Great.
So it's kind of almost finished. You know, I should have that ready, hopefully, if not by this weekend, by early next week, so I can send you a copy of that. And that's what's going to get posted.
Okay, and then I'll take that same statement
Yeah,
and send the limited amount of media that we have in this town, and get that out there as well. And also then we should also, Paul, I guess 1-to-1 does this for us. Get stuff on the Facebook page for Oak Hills and the Twitter account for Oak Hills, and which I would do, but in 5 years I haven't been able to get the passwords, so I have no idea. But we need to get it on the social media that people look at in this town as well. So and then kind of a little dovetail into this same thing. We've been talking about for a long time about doing something, and I know we got to get permission, I guess, from the city, which I will take care of. But we want to name the meadow up there after our very generous donor, who we have now not done anything for probably 2.5 years. And without him being involved, and I hope he's okay. Jim, have you seen him lately? I know it's been wintertime, but have you even seen him?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay.
He's good. He's good. I saw him a month or two ago. Chatted for a while. He's all's good.
All right. Well, I owe him a couple of, and I'll tell you what the brand is, Don. But I owe him a couple of drinks at the bar as a thank you. But in addition, because of why he made the donations, and he did it without really asking a lot of questions, we all agreed months ago that we would name the meadow after his wife. And Don, you made some comment about you knew somebody where we could possibly get a bench to put there. So I would really like to get that wrapped up before we start a new authority in a month or so. So
yeah, I thought I was under the impression of Ernie, something about, remember we went in the pro shop and said he ordered it or something?
well, I don't know, but I know, I mean, Ernie and Jerry, of course, know a lot of the ins and outs on this, but I do believe we have, before we can change the name of anything at the park, we have to get approval from somebody. I don't know who the grand poobah is for that, but I'll find out and we'll take care of that. But we need to just do it. That's the thing. So, okay, and I know there's been a zillion other things keep popping up that we've had to take care of, but overall, that is a request. And I'll do
well,
some.
maybe when we do the grand reopening of the restaurant, we can do a joint kind of dedication there. Same
Sure.
time, if we're gonna have a big group, I think it'd be a nice thing to do.
I agree. That'd be really nice. That'd be really nice. He's not a
However I can
publicity.
help.
He's not a publicity hound. So I mean, he's likes to shy
Yeah, but
away.
it's more of a thank you and a shout out kind of thing, you know?
Oh, I agree. No, I totally agree. We can couple those things together. That's fine. Or when's, I guess we've already had the official opening day, right? Paul?
Opening day men's golf was April 3rd.
Okay, so that's already passed, but maybe we have a golf, maybe we, along with Don's talking, when we do the official opening for the restaurant, whatever, maybe we just have I don't want to put his name out there, such and such day at the golf course. And that's the day we could take care of all this stuff. It'd be good. Then we can do the same thing, Denise. Once May 9th goes by and your tennis courts are up and running, we could do the same thing at the tennis courts, even though it's only for that patio, but that's still a great tribute. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, we hope to present, the tribute at the fundraiser dinner too. So we hope to.
Good. All right. Well, I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah.
So it's under you. I'm not changing anything that you're doing.
Right.
Whatever you want to do, you do. Just let me know so I don't forget and I don't miss it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so let's see here. We did Paul. We haven't done Jim yet, so hang on in there. We've done with tennis. Don, why don't you tell us about where you're at and what's going on with the restaurant and bring us up to speed there.
Yeah, so to kind of echo Paul's sentiment, the weather has kind of killed us as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have not had the turnout that I was hoping for. I know it's coming, but we have, burned a lot of labor staying open for lunches and dinners that just hasn't kind of had any turnout that kind of gets us in the green, or in the black, I should say. But I know it's coming. We're carrying the labor just because I don't want to lose these guys in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
We have good guys. We have a good staff. We have the website that we're about to crank out tomorrow. We have social media cranking out. I just sent out a Mother's Day menu to one-to-one marketing to have them blast it out to all the members.
Great.
The email blast. We're going to do that's where we're going to kick off brunch. So brunch will kick off on Mother's Day, and then we'll do every Sunday from there. So we'll do a nice one price fixed menu with for like $48, but it's got everything you can think of. It's got carving stations. It's got stuff for kids. It's got breakfast. It's got ham and turkey. So it's gonna be a really nice spread. And then we have a lot of bands set up right now. We got one playing tonight, and then we have a full band schedule for the summer as well that we'll blast out as to one too. I didn't want to step on the Mother's Day stuff, so I was gonna wait and then have them blast out the band schedule kind of next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sign went up today. The actual Smoking Aces sign went up today, so that's on the hill here near the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the signage for out on the main course or out on the main entrance there is supposed to come in the next week or two as well. So the signage and that stuff is pretty much done. The pizza oven gets delivered this week, so that'll be good. That's an additional thing that we can add. And we'll start advertising pizza and wing specials for people to kind of take off the course if they'd like. The halfway house opened last weekend. It had a really nice bump. So that really kicked off well. We did I think $2,000 in Friday and Saturday.
Wow.
Saturday and Sunday. So those 2 days were really nice. And then the weather kind of crushed us, so we couldn't really open it this week.
Sure.
We opened today. We had it open today. It'll be open all weekend. Like I said, we're still plugging along. We got a new menu that's going to be coming out next month. That's going to kind of be a little more quick hitting kind of items and have half sandwiches and soups and salads, kind of quick hitters and a little cheaper options as well.
Good.
That's some of the feedback we've been getting. We had it planned. We just haven't launched that new menu yet because of the weather. We kind of had the menu we had to kind of draw in that crowd, that non-golf crowd from the surrounding towns. So we're hoping this year going into next fall that we'll have enough customer base will help us kind of get through these months, because the winter months are making me a little nervous.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Only because like I said, it looks like the traffic up here is going to dictate the restaurant traffic as well. So
sure,
we're going to do everything we can to market and hopefully promote and kind of stem that. But I think we're going to be okay, especially once the weather kind of turns and this place explodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll be ready to go, and I think people are going to be really happy with what we're giving them. I know the food's good. The service is something we're still working on. Got a lot of good staff, but they're still kind of green. And as everybody knows, finding good help right now is not easy.
Nope.
But I think we have a good kitchen staff, and I think people are going to be really happy. And I think we're going to be a nice compliment to the golfers, which I think has been lacking here for the last couple of years of not being
maybe longer than the last 2 years.
Right. Like I said, so our goal is to make sure that we're attentive to the golfers, attentive to the people that are, that are coming up here, and also offering some really nice things like bands and and trivia nights and stuff like that are fun for people. So
Yeah. Good.
we're trying to be a multifunctional thing, and I think we're going to be okay. Like I said, it was just like Paul said. I hope the weather turns here soon so we can get that nice bump and keep going here.
Great. Alan, hang on. Alan, hang on one second. I just.
I have a question also.
Okay, well, the chair recognizes Alan first, and then we'll go to Rayanne, and I recognize myself actually first. I only asked one thing that I think that we're lax in coordinating on, is special events to tie into, which I think will drive some traffic to the restaurant and also part of the golf course. I was very disappointed in the fact that unless I missed it, we didn't do anything to tie into Masters weekend, and Tiger was playing all 4 days. You know, I mean, we got the TVs, we got the food. If it stimulates somebody to come and play for a while and then come in and watch TV for a while and grab a burger, beer, or whatever before they head home, I think we're missing those opportunities. I'm glad to hear about Mother's Day brunch. And just so you know, Don, I actually attended a Easter brunch, which I don't think we did anything either. And for years,
No.
I've always thought that the golf course would be a great place to have an Easter egg roll or invite people with their kids to, you know, and we could put some kind of surprises out there. I mean, we don't have to get into laying all that out now. What I would ask is that anybody on this call that's a member of the board, you know, think about special things and special events and filter them to Don and Alan and others and myself and Michael, who's
Carl,
traveling.
I just want to jump in real quick in terms of the Masters. The weather wasn't all that great that weekend for up here.
Even a better reason for people to sit inside a nice restaurant and eat and drink.
Well, just to give you kind of some feedback just from Silvermine as well,
Mhm.
it was absolutely dead for that. And we tried to the Masters, ironically, it's kind of strange, but you know, with Easter weekend and I think school break was starting for Norwalk as well. I think it was like, you know.
No, I hear you. I mean, there's always going to be
kind of,
there's always going to be stumbling blocks, but I mean, I'm even thinking I'm thinking 4 and 5 months out. That's what I'm talking about, so that it doesn't just hit us in the head like, you know, 2 days or 2 weeks before. So it's not a criticism. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I understand.
We think about it. Alan, you had a question.
So Don, just a heads up as we move further forward here. Obviously, one part of your revenue stream is going to be private parties and having functions in the dining room. So this Saturday we had a party in the dining room for 80 people, which is great from a revenue point of view from you and is important. But one thing we have to be very careful of moving forward is that we always need to have food and beverage service available to golfers when they come off the course and stuff like that. Saturday night there was a couple of incidents where people were expecting the dining room to be open, so there's a communication issue. And I think what's going to be important moving forward is that, you know, if the dining room is closed on a certain time period, the patio has to be open, not just for drinks, but to have a food service as well. Now, it can be not as extensive as the menu, but I think moving forward we need to establish that. And I think it's actually in the terms of our license agreement with you. So we just have to make sure that happens. And I think if you can communicate to people if the dining room is going to be closed, then that's also great as well.
we did have the patio open for drinks. The only problem with this party on Saturday was it was a surprise party and it was a 3-course meal that was plated. So that's why we couldn't have the kitchen open, because we literally were plating 80 something people's food, including the mayor who was up here that night. So it was one of those things where I had the patio open, we had people out there and we were serving drinks, and we just explained to them that we couldn't do dinner that night because of the issues of the plating, that there wasn't a buffet dinner like we normally do that wouldn't jam us up. With the pizza too coming in, that will be a big help, because then we can definitely do a pizza type menu for the patio. The communication on this is where I guess where we're going to need some help, or even some I'll take any advice you guys have, is that how do we get it out to the general public other than our social media and our our website and that kind of stuff? If somebody's planning on coming up here but they don't follow us on Facebook or follow us on email,
Right.
How do we communicate to those people that we have a private event that
Right,
night?
so we're
when
not,
they
we're
do
not
come
gonna,
up here?
we're not gonna solve that tonight, but Alan made an excellent point because the actual customer base we have to always remember to serve is the golfers. And
Blast,
Absolutely.
blast emails.
yeah, blast emails.
Yep.
I've advertised in the patch before. It's very cheap. It does get read. It does, I've seen response. So I mean, that's another place that people kind of forgot about that you can advertise on. For
What is that?
the Norwalk patch.
Oh, the patch. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of options that we could all put our heads together and come up with and do that. But I think we're on the right track. We at least understand that this is a kind of a shortfall that it's not just happened over the last year. It's happened for years. And we want to be different than from years because right now we're still being compared to the past years. And until we can
I agree.
change that, and until we can change that perception, you know, when we open the store doors in the morning to come in and buy our sneakers at half price, we're not going to get anybody. So everybody understands the point. We're all business people. We're all adults. We all get that. Rayanne?
My question, Don, is, do you have a way set up so far? Because I haven't yet played golf this season. I will be playing next weekend or next week, but do you have a way for people to communicate with the halfway house, like prior to them getting there, so that whatever they want is ready, so we don't like hold up the pace of play between like the 9th and 10th holes?
So let me jump onto that and ask Jim. Jim, did we replace that phone box communication from the 9th tee going to the 9th green? It's right off the 9th tee, because I know you and I have talked about that.
We did not replace it. We removed it. It was so problematic, and
Yeah.
it was $350 every time we had to repair it, which happened multiple times per year. It was so unreliable that we decided ultimately that it would be better off without it.
Is there another way?
I can speak to this though.
Excuse me?
I can speak to this for you, and I think the way we have everything set up, the way we did it last year, and the way we're going to do it this year, there should be no issues with slowing the pace of play, because we have a hot dog roller, so the hot dogs are already cooked. It's not like we're throwing them on a grill. The meatballs and sausage and peppers, and then the wraps and the pre-made sandwiches will all be ready to go. So literally, if somebody wants to come up and get a hot dog, you're slapping it on a bun, giving it to them. Same with any sandwiches, and we did that on purpose. We're not doing anything that jams up the slow play, and I don't think we've ever had any issues of causing the play to be slowed. And if there has, please address it. But one of the things we're going to do is I just ordered some walkie-talkies just for us to be able to talk to the halfway house, to the restaurant. So if they do need pizza, and that's the other thing, we're going to have slices of pizza available as well. That'll be in a warmer that we have.
Is there any way, Don, for a golfer to pull their cell phone out and text the halfway house, just in a straight text?
I honestly, Carl, if we do that, it's going to cause a lot of problems, and I'll tell you why. If a golfer comes in and he's texting from the 6th hole or from the 7th hole, we really have no idea where they are, how to tell who's who, and all it'll do is jam us up. Again, when they come off that 9th hole, if they want a hot dog, I'm telling you, you can service 4 people and give them 4 hot dogs, drinks, ring them up in under 5 minutes. So, I mean, it doesn't really slow you down at all.
I agree with you, Don. Basically, I do that. I grab a couple of beers and a dog, and away you go. By the first person's teeing off, and I'm picking up the food. So I don't see that as long as it's grab and go. That's the key. You can't be cooking anything like Sterling Farms, where you're cooking burgers, quesadillas. It's grab and go, bang, pick it up, get your beverages, bang, away you go.
You got it. And everything we have on that menu is exactly that, for that reason.
Well, we get the golf cart going. That should help a little bit also, right?
The golf cart doesn't have any food on it other than wraps, and we'll do some tuna. We're going to do some tuna cups this year and like chicken salad. They're in like pre-scooped cups. So that'll be another additional thing we're adding. So there'll be a lot more food this year, because that was one of the feedbacks we got. They wanted more additional food items. So we listened to that. We're adding that stuff. But again, it's the weather. I'm not doing any wraps or any of that kind of stuff yet, because the weather is just hasn't been busy enough up here.
Yeah.
go through that stuff yet. So
Okay, well,
agree.
I think everybody's got a handle on trying to do that and make it good. And like I said, you're all business people and professionals and tertiary kind of touching of this kind of business. So any ideas and stuff, and we kind of, learn and grow as we grow. So make changes. Nothing is locked in stone. So
yeah, we bought a warmer last year at the end of the season too, to use. Like, again, we'll put slices of pizza out there, so that'll be a nice thing to have. That's a good quick grab and go. Even in the morning, we can start doing breakfast sandwiches up there on the weekend.
Well, that was it. The last question I have for the restaurant is that, do we have a restaurant schedule posted?
I don't
mean,
have it
I'm
posted
sorry,
yet, 'cause it's been
a
so-
breakfast schedule posted.
I have not even attempted breakfast yet, Carl. I mean, we haven't. If we get more than 5 tables for lunch right now, we're lucky.
No, I understand. I mean, trust me.
I can't open for breakfast and burn the labor right now.
No, I wouldn't either. Is there a place to put coffee on the deck somewhere that somebody could leave $1 for coffee or whatever, or $2?
Carl, we've got to work on that. It's kind of like, I'm not saying it's low priority, but it's low priority. I think we need to basically, let's get, go up and running, and then we'll address breakfast. There is different stages we can do. And I think probably, I'll sit down with Don and see what we can work out.
Okay. The only thing I need to start before I hit the ball all over the place is a cup of coffee.
Understood.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, we try to do breakfast at the other restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's like, to open up for a cup of coffee and a breakfast sandwich, like the rate of return on that is just, it's like, I know it pisses some people off, but it's like,
No, I understand it. Trust me, I've been dealing with this for more years than I want to deal with it. So I understand your.
but we do have coffee up at the halfway house. We have a little Keurig machine up there that people can get a cup of coffee. And it's one of those things, we're probably going to set up some kind of grab and go breakfast.
I'll just bring my
snacks and muffins out on the bar once we get going here.
I'll just bring my own coffee and put it on the back of the cart and sell off the back of the cart.
Tell me how you do.
I'm kidding. I'll let you know how I do. Well, I got a great staff and I don't pay them anything. So there you go. So, okay.
Cover your costs.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so Mark, thank you for waiting so patiently. We're at the, you'd think this would be the most important thing, right? So that shows you how much we're worrying about money right now. So financial, and then we'll get to you, Jim.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'll be quick. Paul already went over all the hassles that we've had with the new POS system, which from my standpoint, just the burden of additional reporting and just the learning everything and doing trainings. I'm behind basically on everything. The good news is that all of the insurance renewals and insurance audits I mentioned in the past couple of months, they've all been completed. Our travelers business insurance audit went very smoothly, and we have a very small premium that we have to pay. Last year, if you recall, because we did so many rounds and the estimated rounds we had given them up front was much lower, we got hit with like a $9,000 to $10,000 audit adjustment. This year, it's I think it's $2,000 or $3,000, so it's much smaller. And that's a good thing at the end of the day. It means we did a lot more business than originally expected. So no problems there. The budget. So as I mentioned, I'm behind on this. However, I'm much further along than I've ever been than I was last year at this time, and definitely the years before that. So we're not in bad shape, just a little bit behind where when Joe and I had discussed where we wanted to be this year. So I hope to complete the first go around of the budget in the next day or so and send it off to the finance committee for their review. Then me and the finance committee will all schedule a meeting to go over the budget, answer any questions and make any changes needed. And then I'll circle back with Jim and Paul if any changes are made to their budgets. And then everyone on the authority will be sent out the budget once it's at that kind of final stage.
Excellent.
Yep. Financial activity. We had 1,122 revenue rounds in March, and that's down versus prior year, which can be expected. Last year was unusually high, but we're up 32% over budget. So that is a very good thing. We also had 318 discount ID cards sold. Similarly, it's slightly down from last year, but up over budget. And preliminarily for the month of March, We're slightly over budget net operating revenue for the month. And I just want to, remind everyone that we were basically closed for the first half of March. So the second half of March opening up has been, even with the weather, has been decent or better than decent. So that's a good sign. On the year-to-date P&L through March, we're going to end up slightly, these are all preliminary numbers, by the way. We're going to end up slightly below budget on total revenue, and it looks like expenses are coming in right on budget. And again, given that we're closed not just for half of March, but for January and February for the bulk of it, that really did put us in a hole a little bit, versus budget. So we need another month or two with the weather getting a little bit warmer, days getting a little longer to crawl out of this hole. But we will. And on the bright side, we're definitely going to beat budgeted revenue for April. We're close to budget right now. We've still got almost 2 full weekends to go for April, with at least I know tomorrow is supposed to be 66 and sunny. So tomorrow and over the weekend, we're going to do very well, I think. So just having said all that, we just need to keep our eye on expenses, as we say every month. And we should have a good fiscal year at the end of the day.
Good.
That's it for me.
I thank you very much. Jim, I think
sorry, one more thing, Carl, I apologize.
You use your time. No, go ahead.
Just real quick from the Nature Committee, just since Audrey's not here for that, I'll just mention that the Nature Committee will have a presence at Earth Day, which is this Saturday on the Norwalk Green that the city is hosting, and we're going to have a table with a bunch of flyers to come check out Oak Hills nature trails. So if anybody wants to stop by, it's from 11:30 to 2 p.m. on Saturday. I'll be there.
And a vegan lunch?
A vegan lunch? No.
Just check. Okay, thank you very much. Jim, thank you for hanging in there.
Thank you.
Okay, so in theme with the rest of the meeting, the weather is, having an effect. The greens are recovering from aeration and from the winter damage very slowly. The warm weather, it equals growth. And without that, we have no real good recovery. Sandy greens we have every morning. It's they need to grow through that sand, and we can't do much to them to prep them until they have grown through. The only good thing about the weather is that it has slowed the grass growth on the rest of the course, which allows us to help prep and seed the edges of the cart paths. And, we've got about 3 more holes to go, including number 7, by the way, which has yet to be paved. And I'm kind of curious as to what's going on there, but that's a different story.
Have we paid them everything we owe them, Jim?
They have paved everything in the contract.
No, I mean, okay, so everything that was in the contract, they've taken care of.
Yes, number 7 is the only piece of the pie left. And, there's some edge prep there that can't get done until it's actually paved. So,
okay.
It's kind of going to be ugly until we get a chance to work on it. So,
okay.
So number 12, number 11, unfortunately on number 11, they did all the work after I had blown out the irrigation system.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one pipe that goes from 11 fairway to the tennis courts. And it's in an area where if you look at historic aerials of the property before there was a golf course, there were some buildings over there. And they pulled this pipe to feed the tennis court irrigation system through what could be the foundations of those buildings. So it's all rock. And when they built the path, they crushed the pipe. I couldn't even get a 1-inch pipe through the 2-inch that was broken. So I couldn't, get a makeshift solution. I had to cut the path, open it up, and put a new pipe under it. So our perfectly new path has been, cut. And when you see that, don't be upset. It's just something that had to be done.
Sounds much like the city streets when they get paved.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as Don's sentiment as finding help, well, here we go again. It's another year and the same problem. I'm having a tough time finding people, especially now. The wages are rising up like crazy. And it's not going to stop me from hiring somebody, but I can't hire somebody for more money than a guy that I've had for a few years. I can't do it. So,
Hey, trust me, it's hard finding people to take jobs anywhere.
yeah.
I mean, I had a guy set up for a $160,000 a year job in Atlanta. He lives there. 2 weeks ago, had the appointment set and everything ready to go. I thought he took the appointment, and I get a call from the client later in the afternoon and wanted to know with very brutal language, where the hell was this guy?
Yeah.
And I says, well, did he call you? Did he tell you? He's not, nothing. He just didn't show. And when I contacted him, his comment to me, I just didn't feel like it.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a different game we play today, kids. Different game. All right.
So otherwise, I really don't have anything else to report. If anybody's got any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them if I can.
Yep. Hey, I have a question since it just popped through my mind. Do we still have a suggestion box at the clubhouse?
No, it's in the middle of the pond at the old pro shop.
Usually are.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a suggestion box up there.
Could we put one up?
I guess.
I'll leave that to you, Paul. No discussion needed. I just leave that to you. All right. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jim. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to jump in here real quick and just mention one thing under where old business and new business. This isn't old business, new business. We sent a note out to everybody about the ordinance committee meeting last Tuesday. They didn't take a vote and they had a little bit of a public hearing, but keep your eyes on that. I will try to give you their schedule as best I can keep up with it. But there is, between President of the City Council, the ordinance committee, council person that represents Row-Ayton, there's a real move on for the city of Norwalk, and they already did this in Stanford. And I really think we should model some of what Stanford has done. But there's a real move upon for the city to do away with any kind of harsh chemicals and pesticides for you to use even on your own lawn. So the ordinance will be about your own private property. They can't 100%, as I understand it, stop you, but you could get fined or this, that. That's your private property. Now,
Actually,
it's the other way. I'm sorry. It's about city property that the city maintains with parks. Thank you, Jim. And of course, we're considered one of their properties. So there's a lot of suggestions going on. Jim's up to speed on it very well. I put him in touch with Councilman Keegan. He's got all the information, as you just heard. He knows better than I. So keep your eyes and ears on that. Now, the other thing, the pesticides bothered me when I first saw it because of, it just bothered me because we don't want to go back to, running to Lowe's and pick up off the counter stuff and watch the golf course go to heck in a handbasket. But they're also going to be attacking 2-stroke gasoline engines. And so they could possibly put something together that where all of our gas-powered equipment we have at the golf course would have to convert to battery. Now, there's no way to do that overnight, but down the road, who knows? But they did carve out an exemption for Sterling. And so there's pretty good language in that to do that. We're looking at that. Council's looking at that. So I only bring that up for everybody. Please try and stay on top of that so that, you're up to speed with it, because we may, as a group, as an authority, have to put together a statement stating our own viewpoints on this. Anyway, that's all I have. Went a little long, but I think a very good and productive meeting.
Carl, can I address the board on the results of the nominations and where we currently stand on where you guys are with nominations? After speaking or emailing with everybody individually, the only people for a position is Alan for vice chair and Joe for treasurer again, if they will allow him, was his exact words. And we have nobody for chair. And keep in mind, I'm termed out as of June. Mike DePalma has told me he's not running for another election. So right now, you guys basically have 2 people to fill 3 positions, but that's where you are on the nomination committee.
Appreciate that. And I mentioned to council the other night, I said, if you've got anybody in your districts that you're talked to that's interested in getting on OPA, I actually was right on what I said, we've got 2 vacancies we need filled. So, you know, Alan, I don't know if you watched it or not. Excuse me. I did mention you and your name and said that you had been an appointed term, and it's one of those follows the rules of the interruptus terms that counts as a full term when it's not a full term. But I put you up and said, I want you to really consider putting Alan on for a full 3-year term. I didn't get any negatives. Now, one person held a sign up that said no, but no, I'm kidding. I didn't get any negatives. So anyway, I've laid the groundwork for that. So
Thank you. I think.
well, I could have made it for 6.
No.
And if I remember correctly, I didn't go quick enough on the website before I brought this up, but I think this year also, but I could be wrong, but I think we had 3 or 4 people out of our was it 9 people whose terms actually expire this year. Mike said he didn't want to go for a second term. I'm actually termed, but the other like 1 or 2 people can actually go for a second term, like be reappointed if they want to, but you guys have a lot of people leaving this June.
Yes, we do. Can you just send me the list of the names that potentially could apply for a second go around after their first term?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now as we continue with the meeting. I'll get it as soon as I pull it up. I'll interrupt you and tell you who we have. So
okay, and I will say, and of course I will don't speak for Michael, but I'll say this anyway because he's been there and I've been there. 2 years as a chairman. So I know what it takes. I know the time it takes, but it's still worth it. And I would invite you that if you have the time to think about it, and there's some people on this call right now that I think would make excellent chairman as well as vice chairman. And Alan, if you're interested in it, that's great. And thank goodness we still have Joe that's going to be around again for the financial end of it. I think Mark would be very happy about that. But we need to start grooming people because next year, both Joe and myself come off of the board.
Carl actually pulled up the list. Okay, this year, as of June of 2022, I am termed out because I've done my 6 years. Mike DePalma is off and he said he did not want to run for a second term. So he's like off.
Correct.
Alan's term is up. As you said, you put Alan in, to be reappointed. So Alan, we've already taken care of. In 2023, Denise's term is up in 2023. Jennifer's term is up in 2023. Let's see.
I'm termed out in 2023.
No, you're not. Joe, your term is up in 2024. Carl, your term is up in 2024. But Bar's term is up in 2024 and TJ's term is up in 2024. I'm looking at the current city website as I'm talking.
But I think in 2024, and I don't want to waste it, but I think in 2024, I'm actually termed out though.
Yeah, you're termed out because you're in your second You're in your second thing like I am. I'm totally termed out as of this year, so I'm done as of June.
I'm just hoping the probationary board in 2024 gives me probation. Anyway, can I get a motion to adjourn what I think has been a very good meeting, and I think.
We
you've
have,
all-
we have to discuss the GM candidate.
Well, we can do that now, or we can call a special session for it, or we can handle it by, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Send your comments and your thoughts about the one, I think, Alan, we only have one, right? Right now?
Yep.
Send your thoughts and feelings to Alan on that. Alan then, as the chair of this particular committee who's been running it, can call a meeting with individuals to discuss them, talk about them. And then at the next meeting, we can discuss this individual or maybe others. And because I mentioned to council that we're looking for a general manager. I said that, it was just too much for Don to be GM and food and beverage. And we can handle it that way. We don't have to go into the executive session tonight. And the city wasn't really set up to handle an executive session tonight.
Carl, can I ask one question that I made to you, Alan, Joe, and Mike? Do I share my exact comments with the rest of the authority, or do I leave it between the executive committee and Alan for right now?
That's what I suggest.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's best to keep it that way right now. And then the discussion can broaden instead of we throw so much out there that whatever.
okay.
And of course, you're more than welcome to participate. So I mean, it's really in Alan's hands as to how he wants to move forward. But I know he's going to talk to Joe and myself. And then
I'm sure he's gonna talk to me after the stuff you guys got from me, so.
Yeah, well, I'm also, just so you know, I did work at one of those clubs that the candidate was at for 6 months, Rayanne. So I have a good idea of what we're talking about. I'd also like to just kind of see if I can widen the net a bit. It's
Yeah.
tough trying to find the right person. I'd like to involve a couple of other members of the committee.
Yeah,
Just to
I mean,
push.
also
okay,
to a neighbor, so I mean, I do know him quite well.
okay. Well, like I say, this is all on Alan's plate. So anybody that's still left on the call, feel free to contact him. I'm sorry, Alan, but I think that's the way to do it.
No problem. No problem.
And then we go from there and
Yep.
we find us somebody.
Yep.
All right. Can I
Thank
get a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion.
Jennifer McAllister, first motion for adjournment. Alan Dutton seconds it. Can we vote on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say, so I got Denise, I got me, aye. And I think the motion carries, so we do stand adjourned. The next meeting, I believe, is May 15th? Or 19th?
19th.
19th. I know it's stuck in my head because that particular week, I will be on vacation, so I will not be here for that meeting. Unless I decide I want to dial in from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which I don't think that's going to happen. So anyway, thank you very much. Good meeting, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Have a
Good
great
night.
Friday and the weekend, and onward and upward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.